Greetings! I am Herbert Erpaderp, and once again it's time for Ask a Herbert Erpaderp, triumphantly returning after a week off in which I had other things I had to do. Before we get to the questions, just a little announcement. On Discord, Top Bunk Productions is running a group build. There is a channel specifically for group builds. It's called Group Builds, would you believe? Anyway, the subject of the new group build is the Grand Entrance group build. The subject can be any vehicle you wish, so long as it is depicted in its first notable appearance. For example, a T-34 model 1940 at the start of Operation Barbarossa, or a Mitsubishi Zero dogfighting above China in 1940, or the Bismarck closing her guns on the soon-to-be-sunk Hood. The entry must be a historical vehicle, but it doesn't have to be perfectly accurate. The build begins on April 17 and the deadline is May 23rd. Do visit the group build channel if you have any questions or comments. Keep in mind that this is not being organised or run by me in any way. Group builds aren't really my thing and I don't think I really have the time to enter it myself, let alone run it, though I do think it's a pretty cool theme. So if group builds are of interest to you, or you think they might be, go ahead and check it out, and feel free to ask questions and stuff in the channel. Okay, on to the questions times. Jihad Teppo said, is there any childhood game that you are especially fond of? Mine is either Red Faction Guerrilla or Thief series. I have very fond memories of playing Dune 2 and things like Wings of Fury. I also really enjoyed both Vigilante 8 and Twisted Metal too. And of course on the Nintendo 64, GoldenEye, which really doesn't hold up today. There's probably also a whole bunch of games that I loved and just can't remember. Burner581 said, IS2 or KV2? KV2, just because it's so derpy and fun. I quite like both tanks though, so my real answer would be, why not both? Sneaky Zaku said, do you have any recommended brands of glues? Both plastic, PVA and superglue? If so, what are they and why do you pick them? Not really, especially not for PVA or superglue. I would recommend you get what you can find at the best price from the supermarket or hardware store. Hobby-branded superglues and PVA glues are kind of overpriced, and I can't see them being much if any better than your average cheap versions from the supermarket. Plastic cement is a little different. There aren't really grocery store plastic cements, so hobby-branded ones it is. I haven't tried every single one out there, so I don't think I can really give comprehensive opinions, but I can tell you what I use and that I like those glues. Other ones probably work just as well. Lately I've been using Tamiya Extra Thin and it's very good, especially if you want something that will seep in between parts. I also often use Revell Contactor Professional and it's good too. The metal applicator tube is quite nice, though it can clog. I'm really liking the brush the Tamiya has. Ratto said, now that you have the British Armoured Battle Group box, are you going to finish painting Grimball's Beasts? When are you going to add painting videos to the Grimball's Beasts with Herbert Erpaderp playlist? I will eventually finish the Grimball's Beasts army. I've only got the Shermans and half-tracks to go, so it shouldn't take too long. I did only just do the Pershings, but yes, the remaining 2 sets of vehicles are on my list. They're already primed, which is a good step in the right direction. Also, I've added the 2 painting videos to the Grimball's Beasts playlist. I didn't realise that I'd not added them, but it's fixed now. Some dude said, do you think you will ever get an Edward kit? I have no idea. I don't think I've actually seen one in the local hobby shops, but I might do. I do have a bunch more other kits that I need to get through before I should really be thinking about buying more kits though. Ratto said, do you think there exists a razor stronger than your beard? Have you heard of a sandbox game called Minecraft? A razor stronger than my beard? I really doubt that such a thing exists. And I've never heard of this Minecraft thing you speak of? Nope, never heard of it. I've actually been streaming quite a lot of Minecraft lately. It's been a new experience. I've never needed to ban anyone from the chat before I started streaming Minecraft. It's weird. Also, people keep coming into the stream telling me to play Fortnite. Which is weird, is that some kind of Fortnite promotion team? The internet is weird. Plaid Squid 41030 said, is this a question? Yes. RGames12 said, can you play guitar or have you ever played it? Or do you play another instrument or just nothing? I do play bass. I can also play guitar a little bit, but not very well. It's way too small for me because I'm so used to the bass. Most people would probably say something like, "Heard bass is for failed guitarists," but that's because they've got no idea what they're talking about. I actually started on the bass because it's a much cooler instrument, and the guys in bands that I always thought were the coolest played the bass. Originally I wanted to play drums, but they're expensive and my mum wouldn't buy them for me. Kind of glad for that because carrying drums around to practice and gigs and stuff doesn't seem like a lot of fun. I haven't actually played the bass very much over the last few years, but it's still something that I love. Top Bunk Productions said, how many derps would an Erpaderp herp if an Erpaderp had a KV2 turret? Ah, the important questions. It depends on how many derps there are, because the answer is all of them. Each and every last one. The Big Boy said, you should check out Zvezda's 15mm mouse and Yagd Tiger. I've seen Fog of War's videos on them and they seem to be lovely models. I agree. I've also seen Fog of War's videos on them, and they look pretty good. One of the local hobby stores does stock Zvezda stuff, but I've never seen either the mouse or the Yagd Tiger there. Also, I never see Zvezda in any of the online stores I normally use, which makes it much less likely that I'm going to impulse buy them, which at this point is the most likely way that I'm going to do it. I will eventually get them though. The main reason I haven't really been in a rush to get a hold of them is I already have a ton of models to build and make videos about. I try not to spend excess money when I don't have to. Harry Robinson said, you like steam engines? I've got a 5-inch railway club where I drive baby trains. I do. There's just something I find very fascinating about steam engines, and driving baby trains does sound like a lot of fun. I have seen that there are places with live steam, not sure of the gauge or scale, on the other side of the city from me. I will get around to checking them out someday. Not that I can really afford to get my own live steam engine, nor do I have the skill to build one, but they're cool and I like seeing them. The Tourette's Gamer said, have you ever seen the Meng World War II's tanks, and if so, what do you think of them? I have seen them. They're kind of funny looking. Not really for me though, I don't think. They're quite anime-ish. IS2 said, are you planning to do another ship soon? I think the HMS Nelson/Rodney are cool with all the main guns in front of the superstructure. I am planning to do another ship soon. I do have 2 kits and I'll be putting it to the vote for my patrons as to which one I build first. Unfortunately, neither kit is the Nelson or Rodney, but they are ships, so close enough, I guess. Nelson-class ships are interesting looking though, and definitely a good candidate for a model. If I see one at a good price, I'll definitely consider picking it up. And that's all the questions there are this week. It's now time to go and check out the modelling pictures shared by the good folks over at the Discord server. Of course, feel free to drop in sometime and maybe share some of your own work too. That'd be fun. First, Ratto shared the only modern vehicle, in quotation marks, that he's painted. This is a resin piece, and I think you've done a good job in painting it. Too bad the driver couldn't take care of it and seems to have had a bit of a crash. He's also shared this 15mm scale Tiger, which looks really nice, and it makes me want to paint some desert things. Here's that Tiger on the diorama Ratto has been working on for his dad's 60th birthday. Really good. I'm sure he is or will be very pleased with this. Ratto also shared his first tournament army, which looks to be several $1,000s worth of Space Marines, all in a very nice red scheme. This fellow is Captain Carlo and his hair is used as a whip. He's apparently named after a character in Star Rec 6. And here's some work in progress. I think they look pretty good so far. Burner581 posted one of the Necrons they're painting up. The scheme is loosely based on the Sphinx Guards in Stargate. I quite like Necrons. I think if I were to start playing 40k again, I might play the Necrons. And here's a few updated pictures. I really like the red that you've used there. I think it adds a lot. Burner also shared a bunch of pictures he took while playing a game of Battle Group. It's a British motorised company versus a German Panzer Grenadier company. And the Brits won a decisive victory. Good work. Salika has shared a bunch of Necron-y things too. I really like the pattern on the first figure's weapons. These are all quite nicely painted, very menacing robo-shooty mans. RGames12 has shared their 1/1200th scale Yorktown. This model is made by Revell and is reported to be a nice, easy and fast build. Hungry Hobo has shared their first attempt at using AK products. I think it looks good. You've got a very nice muddy result there. Max W has sanded down the upper hull of his Panther to represent a cast hull variant. And here it is, I believe it's the same model painted up. Looks pretty good. The hull is red primer, I think, and the turret is said to be from another Panther, thus the different colour. Great work. Some dude shared this Spitfire. He seems rather displeased with it, but I don't think it's bad at all. Like you said, it's one of your earlier models. You can look back at it and think about it and how you might do things differently and learn from it. Later you'll be able to look back and see how you've improved, and it's not as bad as you might think. Huggoner12? I've almost definitely said that all wrong. This person has shared this great looking Stug. The only thing I don't like is that there's only one image. It looks really good and I would like to see more of it. Sneaky Zaku shared some British shooty boys. These are quite nice. Also, I rather like the red poppies on the bases. Good work. Punky Ryan shared this Sherman with additional concrete armour. This is wood filler and I think it looks quite convincing. PKB Chaz shared the first T-34 he's built, but isn't sure whether or not to paint it white or green, and asks what you think. So if you want, go to the Discord and make a suggestion. Personally, I agree with Max W. Green and then whitewash would be pretty cool. A lot of times that's how it would have been done. You could try some interesting scratching and weathering with the green showing through the white. Either way, I look forward to what you do with it. Smoes shared a pair of Zvezda 15mm scale models, the KV-2, which is of course a good strong tank, and the IS-2, which is also a good strong tank. Russian tanks all strong. End of story. The coin next to the models is a British pound. Guardian YT has finally finished their Soviet army. Looks like a good strong force with a lot of firepower at its disposal. May you crush all who oppose you beneath your mighty treads. I think you've done some great work there and I would like to see more. Crimson 1149 has just joined the server and would like to share some of his work. So here's an excellent Flames of War / Tanks comet that has just been finished. And, might I say, very nicely finished. Here's some Irish for Saga. I feel a need to add a potato joke here because, you know, Irish. They're really quite nicely painted models, and I like that one of the guys has his own swarm of attack beasts. And these don't look very Irish. I think they're Conflict 47 beasties, or maybe very, very angry Irish. Then there's this USMC Sherman which has been named King Kong. I quite like the camo scheme you've used here. And there's also a Greyhound in the same scheme as well. Very nice work. And that's it for the models this week. Excellent work as usual, everybody. Keep it up. There will of course be more next week, and I'm very excited to see what's going to be shared. As usual, if you have any questions or comments, put them in the comment section below or on Discord. And also do all the other things like subscribing here on YouTube, following me on social media, and watching me live stream on Twitch. Also, don't forget that I have merch available now. More designs coming soon. And if you really like the things I do, please consider helping to support the channel over at Patreon. That would be rad. Links to all of those things in the description below. As always, I shall return soon, so until then, be excellent to each other and thanks for watching. Farewell.